Yes, guys, welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. As you can see, we have another special guest episode this week. We have Mr. Tim Stewart of Tim Stewart Fitness fame, but you're not Tim Stewart Fitness anymore, are you?
Team CBC.
Tim CBC, not even Tim Stewart CBC.
Tim Stewart, Team CBC.
Team CBC, it's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, don't ring.
I think you just change it. Tim Stewart _ Team CBC, isn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that name wasn't taken. There's a
lot of
There's a lot of Tim Stewart.
Team CBC as well.
Team CBC is growing, to be fair. We'll chat about Team CBC. So anyway, we've got Tim on. Me and Tim go way back. Me and Tim are like that. So I've known Tim since what? Was like 18, 19. When I pretty much started training, I kind of knew who you were because you were from near me.
Scunny.
Both from near Scunny. Beautiful place in the world. So
have you been back?
Yeah, I've not neglected my family, mate. I've gone and seen them.
I have.
They're not too fair. I'm not from Scunny. You're from where?
Like Rawby, Brig.
Brig, yeah.
But then, to be fair, the only family I've got up north's moved as well, so
I
have no reason to go back.
I'm from closer to Donny, so like
What's
around Epworth and that.
Epworth's
nice, mate.
Epworth's nice. So is Rawby though.
Yeah, I don't know Rawby. Brig's alright. It's not bad, is it? Scunny itself, like Scunny, Grimsby, Donny, like the main towns or cities are grim.
Yeah.
But they're all very similar.
A lot of them have got like lovely
villages
surrounding areas. So anyway, I've known Tim for years. We trained together a few times back in the day.
Rezo,
Pure Loughborough.
Yeah.
No, Loughborough Uni.
Loughborough Uni gym. Yeah. Holywell.
M10.
Yeah, we trained at M10.
Loads.
And then you've known each other from me, basically.
Yeah, I think.
Usually most people know you from me.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I knew him from you.
Yeah, that's what happens, mate.
I couldn't stick you. Do you remember?
Mate, we both disliked
you. Followed me.
Yeah, and I called Tim out on this. I was like, because Tim was sounding I was like, bro, why did you unfollow me? And you were like, oh, I just didn't really like what you were posting. I was like, fair enough.
I said honest about it.
I know. I literally said, I was like, fair enough. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. Because we got on well in person. Yeah. And I was just like, what the fuck, bro?
It was when you was at Pure Gym, when you were dead young, like 18, but still, still massive at like 18 with that string around.
The gym shot. I'd pull in, so it was like gym shot.
Nip would always be out.
To be fair, you wore that gym shot vest not even that long ago.
That probably was
like last year in
Rotherham. I didn't wear it in Brett, but it was like 2021. I was like, I could probably still just about rock this. And then, since then it's been gone. But yeah, we've known each other for a fair few years. And I always say, like, whenever we spoke about you, we've mentioned you a few times. We're always like, we get on well with Tim. So it's a surprise. We said beforehand, it's a surprise you've not been on before. Because
I was surprised.
If you think about
well known enough, mate.
No, if you think about like how you are, like we always like get on quite well. Like whenever it shows, we'll have a chat. I think our humour's like roughly the same.
Pretty
like
similar,
you seem to sync well. So give a bit of an intro, mate. What are you all about now? Are you an athlete still? You kind of sack that off. I mean, you sack it off every 6 months.
Yeah, I couldn't go. I've had time.
So you competed once. How did that go?
Yeah, overall. I came 4th in my class.
Out of 4.
That was ages ago, wasn't it?
I think I was 20 or just
against Mo Samuels, wasn't it?
Mo Samuels and Casey Conway as well.
Wasn't Mo in a hospital like 2 weeks out?
Yeah, and still did it.
Wasn't he like dying or whatever?
I was robbed.
Yeah, you were robbed.
Still to this
we all were,
day,
mate. If you don't win a show, you're robbed. Whoever you are.
I was fully backstage thinking, I've got this. I was peeled.
To be fair, you were never men's physique. Like your legs were pretty good. Like just a tall bloke.
Just a tall bloke with a little bit of muscle.
Tall shit. What
now I've got a tiny head.
I've never seen you from the front. I didn't know what your face looked like. I've only ever seen you from the back.
There's a reason for that as well.
There'll be people going, who the fuck's that?
That's got a great back. Lats look great. They're non-existent.
Actually, people might have seen you from your reels.
Yeah.
Gonna get some reels today, guys. I love some good reels. Me and Tim have just been chatting about reels.
Mate, you're putting like 3 reels up a day.
Mate, I'm not joking.
Every single piece of kit, you're telling me how to use it.
Wait until next week. I've got more and more coming.
Every day coming, mate.
Yeah. I'm kind of in athlete mode a little bit.
Yeah.
More than I have been. Just coaching.
Run us through like a year by year. So when did you get into this? So you when you were young.
You were into it like
16,
early
17.
days, yeah.
How old are you now? You're my age, aren't you? 25?
25.
Yeah.
16, 17, and then, I don't know, when did we meet? Probably 18, 19, something
when I was
like
at uni, so I'll have been like 19, you'll have been 18.
I remember you just went, I came to yours in Loughborough. And to be fair, that's when I was like, this is something I want to do, because then I went and got a PT job at Pure. So I was a PT for a bit, went to uni, and then started coaching straight after I competed. And I've just been coaching.
Yeah, because you went to uni. Where did you go to uni first?
I did my degree at Birmingham.
Then
I went to Loughborough, did my masters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels like ages ago.
Mate, it feels like ages ago.
It was, to be fair, though, because that like lockdown, like before COVID, wasn't it? Yeah, then into that, and then like if you think about how the last few years have gone, like it's been pretty like rapid increase. You know, in like
in the last year for me, it's been an exponential increase.
Yeah.
But that's also to my own fault from leaving for a fucking year.
Yeah. So what happened?
Head loss.
Head loss.
Absolute head loss.
Okay, come on. Get
bro, I don't know. I was at
So you competed. When did you compete? 2020, 2019. It sounded.
2019, 2018.
Okay. And then
2019.
It will have been
2 years before you, 3 years
2018.
before you. 2018.
I competed in 2020, so yeah,
2018.
So you competed then, and then was your goal like right? You're gonna get bigger, did you enjoy the prep? Like what?
Loved prep.
Yeah.
Loved prep.
To be fair, you looked good. You were in good nick. You were lean.
I was peeled. That's why I thought I was going to win.
Yeah.
But I prepped myself as well when I was 19, 20.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just get peeled.
Yeah.
And I did. Lost quite a lot of muscle mass. But I don't know if you remember in like peak week, I like got that mad edema.
Yeah, because you had loads of sushi.
I had that sushi, and I think I had an allergic reaction to the sushi, to like shellfish.
Yeah. I remember seeing your story, and you're like, oh God.
I was out here, like moon face you haven't seen. So I poured off like 14 pounds of fluid during peak week, which was never ideal. Couldn't fill back up. I thought I had, but I hadn't filled back up. Looking at the stage photos now, like, people beat me that were literally fat. Like fat.
But it's because you weren't men's physique.
But I wasn't men's physique. And then I went and started growing and spent ages. And I was going to compete as a final year as a junior.
Yeah.
But I don't mind admitting that I always had a fear of dieting back down again to stage lean. Because I'm like, I love to win. And I hate not being good at something.
Yeah.
And so coming fourth just ruined me to the point of like, I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
So every time that I would start to diet, it'd be like, I know I'm not good enough to win, so I'm not going to actually go that far to do it again. Yeah. So then I'd start pushing back up again.
I feel like that was what we've seen. Like it was a lot of yo-yos. It was a lot of
always.
Like, I'm going to do this, and then it was like I'm going to do a photo shoot. Then it was I'm into a growth phase, and like the problem is, especially with coaching, you just have to stick to something. Especially,
I'm bad for that. I'll admit.
Yeah.
But it's also I'm bad because I'm realistic. Not because like I think it's great to yo up and down and my goals change. My goals have never really changed. It's apart from when I went functional.
Yeah, it's
more so that I just know I'm not. I ain't got delusion.
Yeah.
And I'm like that with my clients. And I'm like that with myself. I know I'm not a great bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So when I will one day step on stage again. I just have to kind of.
Don't you think that?
Wire myself up that it'll be that.
Yeah. Show you that.
Why is he still turning to the
excuse me, competitor. Don't have your number. Just stand there. Quarter turn. He's still
think, like I know because I'm in the same boat. Like I know that I'm not an incredible bodybuilder, and like I'm not genetically ever gonna be.
Yeah.
But I also think when you think like that, you're just worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you start thinking like that, and sort of thinking that I'll never be, you're already lost. Like I'll find myself falling into that from time to time, and like usually when I think like that, that's when I start to be like, my training doesn't feel as good, or like a lot of the time it'll be.
No, it can create really bad
massively.
negative cycles, and it's hard to break. But when I do compete again, it will be a win for me. Will be the best that I can look and the best that I can place. As much as that annoys me to say, but like I have to.
You don't know who you're going to be against.
Yeah.
No,
some absolute freaks, mate. You're not a freak. Like
I'm not. Like,
so it doesn't matter if you don't. If you get beat by someone who is a bit of a freak.
Yeah.
If you're peeled and look fucking mint.
It's an objective placing.
Like, yeah, I know it's an objective placing, but I know I'm also not a great bodybuilder, so I wouldn't be saying that. But like my thought process has changed. It's just I think from coming from such a sporting background, from being good at everything and from winning, it's very difficult to then go into a sport where
you're not that.
It's so genetic based and you have no.
Especially when if you're nailing everything, but someone who's not nailing everything, who's just a freak, beats you, and it's like fuck, that's very frustrating.
But I think being a coach and being a prep coach now, I think that massively helps with the fact that you can do everything in your power, but you can't make someone win. Like, that's up to other people now. And you have
I remember
to be happy
the first probably few clients that I got on stage, like I'd be so stressed and thinking about like
if they don't win.
But not place. Even just thinking like, what have I done wrong? It's like you can do everything possible. You can be the best coach in the world, Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
If
But you think that, don't you?
someone
Also
better
think,
turns
like,
up, or
are they going to be pissed off with me? Is it my fault because they've not got the placing that they want when three better people have turned up on the day?
So if they're the best that they were, that they could have been, like, what else can you do?
Yeah.
And more often than not, people are happy with that.
Yeah, definitely.
When it's you, it's hard to think that.
Yeah,
because you're like, especially, I know you said like you love prep, but like the back end when you're, let's say, feeling like shit. If you're doing everything, if you're having in your head, well, at least I'm probably going to win, or I'm going to do really well. Yeah. In the back of your head, if you're thinking, if 5 people turn up, they're way better than me, I'm fucked. It's hard.
Yeah, but you can't think that.
You can't think that, but without even realising, subconsciously, you probably would think it.
It's like when I went to there was a BMBF qualifier that I had clients in, and the medium class was like ridiculous. Like literally, I wouldn't have placed top 5. Yeah. Like it was like, what the fuck? Like, really, really good.
This year.
Yeah. And I remember saying, last year. I remember saying to Shannon, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I was like, I'm not going to do it. Like, there's no chance I'm placing that. And like, Shannon was, to be fair, she was like, I think you could. She was like, condition-wise, you'd probably been in the top, like, 4, maybe 5. But, like, size-wise, the guys that were there, like, were ridiculous. But then there was other shows where I turned up and, like, I still thought at most shows that I was shit. Yeah. And I still came 2nd or 3rd or whatever. Like, I came in the top 3 in every class. Yeah. But in your own head, you're worse than you think. Like a lot of people anyway.
Before your first show.
But the thing is, you can't see yourself up against other people. No, and being young and not being well muscled as well. Yeah. All I could see is like people that were so out of shape, and it wasn't even soft. Like some were like out of shape.
PCA shows prior to like
Conway.
PCA shows prior to like 2020. Oh, you see some photos that are rough. The standard was awful.
But you see the odd person now, and you think like with modern day social media, you've probably got a coach. You know what you're stepping into. Yeah. You've seen people on stage online.
How have you been?
What the fuck are you expecting? Turning up like that.
People are deluded. I always relate it when I say it with clients. I relate it to when you like on X Factor. Yeah. When people turn up and they legitimately think they're good, and their family tell them they're amazing, and they're horrendous.
And you hear them screaming in the crowd. You hear them livid that they've not.
That they're not gone through. Yeah,
it's like that Natty Olympia. You see some of them going absolutely bonkers over someone on the stage.
Like, how can you go mental? You've got one arm, mate. You're
in the wrong class.
But no, it's true. Like there's people who just don't have the right support group around them. Like if, for example, like with me and you, like if there's a certain body part that's shit, we'll just literally be like, that looks shit,
or
that pose looks shit, or your back's fat.
Like, do it as well.
I say to you every single week. Every time you pose,
it's literally like you look alright, you look really good, your back's fat. And it would get to the point where, mate,
but it is. I'm not going to go.
I'd about cry, but I was like, well, I just need to get leaner. And I'd have
the front's been in for 8 weeks, but back's still so solid.
What would it do if I was to go, oh yeah, your back looks great as well, mate? Like, I'm just lying.
We go to Rotherham and we stopped training there when I was prepping every time. So every time I prep, we stopped going to Rotherham because I just get the same comments, and it's like, I don't need to be told.
Everyone in Rotherham, like, going like, oh, you look great, you're going to win a pro card,
you're going to do this, and it's just like, no, I don't fucking need to.
Filling you up.
Yeah, just like, I don't need to know. And also my back's still fat. Finn's told me for the last 10 weeks.
Yeah, but you want that.
Yeah, they'd be saying something nice.
No, you need that.
Someone's giving him compliments, and I'm just, his back's really fat.
You should see his back. Turn around. But you need that level of like, I think some people respond well, some people maybe don't, but I think you need that like straightness, and that's why coaching is actually key, because if you blow smoke to a client and you're telling them you're going to be undeniable, you're going to win.
You need both.
There should be that fine balance.
You need to understand the client. Yeah. Some you can literally just say, you don't look great at the minute, or you're flat, or this needs to. Some you need to say a roundabout way. You need to compliment them, but then say, but we need that. It's like, you got to understand what gets someone going, isn't you?
I think the more often you give compliments, the more they just become like irrelevant. Yeah. Like if I was to say to a client, oh mate, you look amazing every single week, they're just like, oh, sound. They're just saying the same thing.
It means way more when you say it legitimately. That's the first one.
Fucking hell, mate, this is actually really good. Like, I've actually not seen you look like this. They're like, oh shit.
Finley Roberts, I don't think I complimented him. I still don't think I have. But when he won the overall, I literally was saying to him, you're going to get beaten in the overall by Matt, because he's better. He's in better condition than you.
Who was he up against?
Matt LeMay. Do you know the men's physique guy? Matt LeMay?
You'd recognise him.
You know him. He's coached by Zach now. He's
yeah.
And then he was against Ethan Metcalf, my old client.
I'd match in the class.
Oh yeah. So when Finley won that, And like literally beforehand, I looked at him like, you look alright, mate, but you're a bit soft for where I'd want you to be, because he fucked up a bit.
Over it.
Yeah, he over it. He had a 500 carb refeed, just fill up, and gained like 8 pounds. And I was like, okay, yeah,
that's not 500 carb.
Yeah, that's not 500 carb, or something's gone wrong here. But we sorted it out.
Full as a house, though.
Yeah, full as a house, of course. And luckily, just about got enough water up to the point he just could bullshit a front post. But like through the whole prep, I don't think I complimented him once really. I was just like, yeah, you look alright. And then for like Josh Jenkins, mate, 3 days out from the first timer show, looked so bad.
He was,
he was over dieted to the point where I think it was just more so communication and how he was dealing with things, how his training was shit.
Was he doing more than you were telling him to do?
I don't think he was doing more, but it was more so like, you know, when someone's mentioned food and refeeds for like every
you don't want to give him it.
So you don't want to give him it, and it's like your training's actually just shit because you're just being a bit shit in the gym. And then also they're not peeled at, like, let's say for example you've got 10 pounds to pull off and you're like, okay, we can get this done, so you pull 5 pounds off and it's like you're not looking any leaner.
I feel
so
like
then you
Josh,
almost get to
just like he was like,
he looked really good.
He looked better for his second, last show or third show.
The last show, but
pulled it round a little bit.
But it was like we pulled off like 20 pounds, and he looked worse than he did 20 pounds up. And it was with Josh, like, it was 3 days out. Yeah, he was 3 days out, 4 days out, and I was round in Cardiff like a day before crashing my car, and he was like, how do I look? And I was like, Sam was videoing me, and I was like, yeah, you look good, man, you look good. And I like gave him his food, and it was like,
you put a story on. And it was, and I was like, "Fucking hell!"
It was like,
was that when you
awful?
The story when you went and saw it?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I remember.
I was like,
it was like, I think I gave him like 6,000 calories that day, and I was like, where do you reckon you could have more food? And he was like, I reckon I could have more. And I was like, okay, do that. There's a bit more there. And I was like, yeah, just do a bit more here. And then I was like, yeah, have a good day. See you later. And the second he walked out the door, I was like,
it's gutting,
but yeah, no, but
it is horrible feeling when it's someone's just gone.
And it's that close as well.
Luckily, he looked sound for the first time. He got second in a good lineup. The guy that won, he wouldn't have won even if Josh was 100%. He was a classic PCA, tiny waist, good shoulders, really skinny, like dry abs. He looked really good. But like, there's times in a place where, like with Josh, if I said to him, "You look shit," he would have. That would have head loss.
Yeah. There's no point there. There's no point there.
No. So, but Finley, I could say to him 3 or 4 days out, "You look naff. Why are you fat?" And he'd probably still cheat on
drown his sorrow with hot food.
I do like you, Finley. I do like that. He'd probably be like, okay, cool, I actually need to stick to plan. But everyone's going to be a little bit different. Especially when it comes to you getting more clients on stage. Like, I remember, Joe Gillen. So he was one of your first people that did quite well, like especially conditioning. JFreaky1.
Joe who? JFreaky.
JFreaky. Yeah, JFreaky. Yeah,
JFreaky1.
Yeah. When he did the show against Matt and your other client won. You know,
he was growling at us backstage.
And he was growling at us backstage.
Growling with the
road. Going to scroll up you.
Yeah, he was going to fight.
He was fuming with all of us.
Yeah. And like, I feel like that probably, even though, let's say, objectively, that was a pretty naff experience from a coach to be like, fucking hell, what the hell?
Yeah.
But that probably helped you when it came to, right, but I probably need to maybe preparation. Maybe like, some people are just a bit different when they don't win. He was obviously going in. He was in the best condition.
He looked posing, that's all.
But also...
And he wasn't meant to see, was he?
No, but he was if he'd have posed well.
He was posed, and he was probably like 50 pounds
If he could have posed, mate, if he could have posed, he'd have won that by a mile.
Yeah, it was his pose, and it was just like the raw aggression on stage. It was just like...
Front shot hit.
Remember doing his press-ups backstage? I mean, it's still the same, but it works fine for bodybuilding. Like, and even so, we still calm him down because, like, I don't want him to have an aneurysm on stage when he's just doing that. He'll send me that shot with all his veins like 14 times a week, and I'm like, it's the same as 2 weeks ago. Stop doing it.
And you will,
you're gonna
new
pass out challenge. He's like,
new levels are locked. So he just said it through like, bro, you've got the same veins. You haven't just magically like acquired 20 new capillaries across your chest. Look at that.
But obviously he did well this year. He's just got that ability to just get skinned. Just a freak.
Yeah.
JFreaky1.
JFreaky1.
Yeah.
He is good, to be fair. Like he
just needs more muscle.
Yeah, he does.
That's all he needs. And that was obviously with Lil. He got moved up to the middleweights. There was an issue with the weighing because he was lightweights in Two Bros UK.
Yeah.
He got moved up to the middleweights, and they just had like 10 kilo more muscle.
Yeah, he's like right at the bottom end of it.
And it's when he's not, although he makes them look fat, they're not soft enough for his condition to then win. No. There's 10 kilo.
You can be as peeled as you want if you've not got the shape or the muscle. And his shape is good, but it's not incredible because he needs to be bigger. I think like you put on 5-10 kilos of tissue.
His limbs look long. Like he always in a front lat spread. It's a good
and
pose when you break it down.
Yeah, but his posing still needs to be better.
Oh yeah,
I think his posing could be a lot better because he's got everything in terms of like he has got a good amount of muscle and he's peeled. But I do think some of his poses, I'm like, he just somewhat missing. Like,
yeah, it might just be a muscle.
It is tissue,
as well.
But also just, I think he poses too hard. Which, like I say, in bodybuilding for some poses is great, but a lot of poses, you pose too hard, you just make yourself look smaller. I think he needs to like actually relax a bit when he's posing, which I know is hard because he's like very amped up.
Yeah.
He did look very good whenever I've seen him this year.
Yeah. He did well at PC finals.
Yeah, he looked good then. Yeah.
Because he'd lost to Conor Laundrie.
Yeah, he beat him, didn't he?
And then he ended up beating him. But that was.
Was Conor on at that? Did he look? No, I don't think
he'd done two bros the day prior.
Okay. Yeah.
He was just watery. He was just soft.
Yeah.
I don't know what he looked like at the two bros.
Yeah.
He wasn't on whatsoever.
Mate, he was inside out.
He was
inside out one day before.
Yeah,
24 hours. And then he just done a Finley.
Yeah. Just had 500 carbs.
That's what we call it.
He had 450.
It was only 450 carbs.
But yeah, it was a good season for JFreaky. It's just he's got every foundation to go to the top. It's just muscle now.
Yeah, just taking time. Let's delve back into you when you had your head loss and you turned into a CrossFit athlete.
So that was the year I was going to prep.
When
my
was it?
final year as a junior.
22?
2023. 2022. Yeah.
So
I'd still been 23.
Yeah.
So I was going to go do juniors. And then...
Were you going to do bodybuilding?
Physique. Still going to do physique, yeah.
That's mental.
I know, but my legs are just
long.
Weak and long. They're not weak, they're just so long. And even my quads are so hip dominant. So they're great up top, but you put even in shorts, it still looks like, because my calves are so small, it still looks like I've got no legs. And you pull my shorts up, they look great.
Yeah.
But they're just too weak being this tall and not being that blessed with them. And also, like, I've not been able to train legs so well for years now with my knees. So they've just been weak. And I know, like, from last prep and when I've dieted, as soon as I go into a deficit, they do disappear. So I thought I'd do physique. And then, business and stuff was fine then. And I wasn't at a low point I wasn't depressed, but I was at a low point for me. And I blamed bodybuilding as the reason. And I had a lot of external input on that because I have a lot of friends that are outside bodybuilding.
Yeah. So they probably see the levels you go to and they're like, oh, what are you doing?
It must be that. That's why you feel like you feel.
Right. Yeah. And because I was already very impressionable because I was at a low point.
Yeah. What are your family like in regards to... I feel like I remember you saying they were never that, like, into it.
Mum and Dad don't like bodybuilding.
Yeah,
Mum and Dad loved it when I was hybrid.
PDs. And
Mum and Dad still think I'm natty.
Yeah, it's his mum thinks I'm natty.
They don't. They found things that I've found out about now. They found needles and shit.
Yeah. And they just thought it was heroin.
And they just assumed I was a junkie.
Do you remember when you said you went to get your needles from...
I remember this story.
Yeah.
Selly Oak in Birmingham went in to the pharmacy because I used to pin with blues back then.
Yeah, lovely.
In my delt as well. How? I don't know. And he was like, so what's it for? And I was like, no. And I was like, can I have some needles? And he's filling in the form and there's a checkbox. Obviously, you won't know this.
I will, mate. Don't tell anyone.
The first one's like heroin and I see him just tick it. And I'm like, no, I promise. I'm on gear.
Steroids.
I am assisted. Still thought I was going to win the show.
So make that real.
Like a heroin addict, but I'm going to take it.
So mum and dad, they came to my show, they'll support anything I do.
Yeah.
They'll just, like, mum will call me a prick and say, like, what do you want to do that for? You look like such a prick.
Yeah.
Like, you look
especially
awful.
coming forth.
Yeah.
You look awful.
You look so much like a prick and you came forth.
And like heroin addict.
And you look like a heroin addict. But like all my friends outside of bodybuilding, some of them are supportive and get it, but a lot of them, like, especially the ones that go out loads, they were just like, oh, it's obviously bodybuilding. And then when I stepped away a little bit, it was like, oh my god, you seem so much happier. You look the best you've ever looked. Like,
you're staying up till 2 a.m. playing Warzone games with us now. Thanks.
Yeah.
We love this
must be good for you.
Yeah, we love this version of you, Tim. Keep at it.
And I think that just escalated. And I'll be honest, because of genetically, it suited me so well. Because I was a long distance runner, obviously football, I can drop body fat immediately, and my body just, like, I thrived at it straight away. I was really good. I got fit like that. And then that just got worse and worse and worse. Business literally 10th.
What, just because it was like, you're not bodybuilding anymore?
You've even got to think as a lifestyle coach. And I've even spoke to like Ben Bray and stuff about this when he went as well. It even affected him. It's like, if a 17-year-old comes and wants to build muscle for Ibiza, how do they train? Like a bodybuilder. So what the fuck am I doing as a functional athlete? It's got no like relevance to anything unless you want to be a functional athlete. Now I'm not at the stage of knowledge, although I immerse myself. I'm not at the stage of knowledge where I can program someone to go do a high rocks, to the best of someone's capability. So it kind of left me no man's land. And then what got me back into it mainly was I just missed training. I'd go in the gym and I'd see people leg pressing and see people like pressing heavy loads, and I would just be like, I fucking missed that. And I remember going and doing my first session back at a tiny little gym near me, and I was like a kid in a candy shop, and I was just like, it's like I'd been to the gym for the first time again. I was buzzing. And so then I just chucked the gear back in and went for it again. I was like,
it does make
9-10
you
months
realise,
TRT.
when you have some time away from it. Like, it's
but
like anything.
It was a blessing and a curse in terms of like, it did make me realise that this isn't, funnily enough, the thing I've been doing since I was 16 is not the issue. Like, I do love it. And yeah, but I dropped like 60. I went from like 250 to 185 with minimal muscle. Like, I resorted back to my
185
what
at
were you
your
eating?
height.
What were
was
you
I
eating?
eating.
Nothing.
At first, I was eating minimal because
Did your appetite drop
my,
off, like,
my
massively?
appetite.
Yeah.
Well, I was already pushing food.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I was buzzing. I was like, I'll eat nothing.
I feel like you've always struggled though pushing up, haven't you? Like, I feel like every time you've been above like a certain weight, you've been like, fucking, I feel heavy.
I'll be honest. Every time I've got past like 240, whether that's in my own head, I'm always like, I just look the fucking same. However, last time I dieted, when I started with Joe, and we did like a 4-week diet, I did look very different, and I was a lot heavier than I had done in the past, which was great. But I'd always get to a point, and it would just be like body fat's coming on, not tissue. It's almost like my body's like, it just doesn't want to be any bigger than this. I'm so fucked at a certain body weight where someone's chilling. You're chilling at 270, and I'm feeling worse at 230. And it's just like my structure, everything it just doesn't want to get bigger. But this time it's been a lot easier and a lot better. And there's not really any different, bar the training slightly different. So my appetite I was already slamming food for so long. So that was like amazing. That's probably the biggest joy of pulling away straight away is like, you know what it's like to go to bed so full and think, tomorrow I've got to do that all over again from meal one. Like, it's not great.
You wake up full from not even the day before, but like 3 days before.
Like, you can go 5 days without eating. You've got that much like in your system. So I slashed food, and then I worked my way back up to like 300 probably. I was maintaining that. But I'd go out on the weekend. I was going out a lot, and
it's good for you.
That wasn't helping.
That was the main thing. That was the best thing for you, mate.
So yeah, and then I just got back into it, and I don't know. I don't really know why anyone came back to me. To be fair, but certain people did. And I had my first client on stage last year again. It was Harry Crabb. It was Christian, and Harry did really well as a team. But it was annoying that because him versus Josh would have been great all year. Yeah. But he turned 20 2 days before the World, so he went and did Worlds as a junior.
He is very good. Like, he's looked fucking massive now as well. Oh, yeah. But Josh's shape is just ridiculous.
Yeah, Josh's shape. Harry was bigger.
He'd be bigger than him and probably leaner than him.
He was leaner than him, but Josh's shape's lovely, yeah. Like, Josh's front light, his side try.
Josh's shape carried him, like, obviously he looked great. He's got a good amount of muscle and he was very, very lean, but his shape is what won him shows. His posing is what won him shows. Yeah, like, his posing was really good.
Yeah, his posing was good. His shape was lovely. And then, I don't know, it just, throughout the season, it just escalated and ended up pretty successful.
Yeah, speaking about that then, so let's have your highlight reel of clients. So the ones you went to the Natural Olympia with? So
Jack and Jack, Lee and Kingsley Clough.
Yeah, speak about them. You picked up Kingsley Clough.
I picked up Kingsley Clough
quite late.
6 days out of his British final. I'd met him at that
himself?
BNBF.
Yeah. No, UKDFBF. I met him at BNBF. Yeah. No, when when
everybody looked shit because of the lighting, and it was just,
that was the final. Coach you, please.
No, I didn't. I just took a photo with David. Okay. And he was asking for a coach. I think David recommended me, and he'd seen my work and saw that I was at the show. And David was like so soft, and then David joined quite late, and then he was peeled. So I was actually in Mykonos, and Jack messaged me 6 days out, so I just left the restaurant and set him up there and then. Great boyfriend. And that was basically just rid fatigue straight away, because he just ran himself into a hole. Yeah. And his head had gone because he lost BNBF, which wasn't a great look for him. He still should have won the BNBF finals.
Corey won. Corey's good though. It's not like he got beat and he shouldn't have got beat.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't like a robbery.
Corey was good on
I do think like there's no one more classic than
Jack. He should have
won. And in person, it's
yeah.
even crazier.
Yeah.
Because he can
good.
Stand there looking normal, and he just hits the front lat, and it's like, where's all that muscle come from? Yeah. Where's it? Like it just comes alive. But yeah, we had Jack Hattersley and Kingsley Cuff in the Natural Olympia, which Jack obviously Hattersley cleaned up all year, and he didn't lose it.
Did you expect the success from Hattersley?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We spoke about this. I will voice what our opinion is. So obviously we've never seen him in person, like before he was on stage. I saw him once or twice on stage. His back's ridiculous. His like back shots were fucking stupid. But like when I saw him prior, if you had said to me, and I've had people come up to me and say this, like people have competed against him, like at the Fitex, one of the, I think, Chris Kohls. Do you know Chris Kohls?
Oh, yeah, Chris Kohls.
Yeah. Sound guy.
He beat Chris.
Yeah, he beat Chris. And like Chris he wasn't salty. He was like, he looks fucking wicked. He looks fantastic. But if you had shown me, let's say, if you had said this guy had won this, done this, never been beat, won like what, 4 overalls? Is that 6 overalls. That's crazy.
Assisted and natty.
And then you showed me a photo of him. I don't think you would put his physique, because I think when it comes to criteria, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to his general physique, if you were to look at him criteria wise for what the judges look for, I can understand. But if he was to walk in a gym and hit a few poses, I don't think you'd look at him and go, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, he is
even I've not known Jack, but I remember. So when I was young, you know Metro Gym in Hull, heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So when I was really young, at 17, 18, 19, I lived just the other side of the Humber Bridge. This has no relevance to you, I'm guessing. But our Saturday day trip would be to go to Metro Gym.
Okay.
So that would be like 4 of us would go off our nuts on some pre and would go to Metro Gym. It's this old school sick gym. It's shit now, but it used to be sick. Yeah. Jack used to be there maybe 13, 14. Yeah. I didn't know who Jack was, but he was just a boxer. Yeah. And he looked ridiculous at 13, 14. Okay. Yeah. So looking at him in the gym, and especially now, he's like 45 pounds up, and he'd leaner than most PCA men's physique still. He'd win any show. Yeah. But I agree in terms of photos, because
I don't mean
peaking Jack would throw my head every time until I saw him in person, because he looked great, but nothing like he does in a photo compared to in real life. So even peaking, I'd be like, he's just not full. Why is he not full? We've done the same. I'd go see him and I'd be like, again, why am I even remotely worried? Because he looks like this. Yeah. So I get that.
Yeah, I don't mean that in a bad way. I think he looks fucking awesome. I think
he is good.
I just think like criteria-wise, he's like pretty much perfect. But I think physique-wise, I wouldn't like. Again, these are not even my words. We've spoke about it. When he was really cool to see.
When he was against Leo.
Yeah.
Like I thought Leo looked really good.
Leo
was close to him.
Leo was good.
Yeah,
Leo was good. Which was surprising. I didn't think he'd look that good.
I thought like a week or two out, Leo was.
I knew he'd look good because he's got a great shape, but I didn't think he'd be that close to.
Yeah, I don't think it was close.
From the front, I think it was close. I think a lot of people. I think Connor. So that was his Connor Flanagan, my guy.
Yeah.
I think from
Connor's
the front,
got lovely shape.
Connor's got lovely shape, but from the rear, it was lights out for Jack. Like from the front, I was like, this is really close, and it turned to the rear, I was like, oh yeah, Jack's on. Like
no, I agree with that. Connor was the closest to him, I'd say. Yeah. Across most.
It would have been good to have seen them at PCA finals against each other, because Connor was like 100% there, and that's when he got second to the guy who was like assisted. It was just a bit. He was basically Connor just with round of dose.
I think Jack would have won PCA finals.
I think Jack would have, but I think it would have been good to have seen both of them. Yeah.
I remember. Did I see it, or was it the day before? I remember seeing it, and because like there was Finley and stuff, and I thought if Finley's on, he's got so much muscle, he'll do well. Yeah. But Connor did really well that day. Yeah. But I think that was the week before. We'd done Yorkshire, UKDPA finals, and then it was the week after, and then we had Romania, so we pulled out of PCA finals. Yeah. But in terms of, he was with a previous coach, and it was awful.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's a twat.
Right. Okay. Anyway, so carry on. Carry on. He had a bad experience with a coach.
Yeah. But I just thought it's his waist at the start. Like, if this comes in, then he had so much muscle, and he just held it all, nailed it all. And I know what you mean, but I think he's just so men's physique.
He is like quite blocky, like
it's just his lats
because he's got good abs, very good abs. Like,
it's just weird because I think I look at him and think like, oh, he looks amazing, he looks fantastic, but like. I just don't look at him and think like, for example, if you were to look at the epitome of men's physique, I don't think that's him.
No.
But I also agree why he's winning so many shows. Yeah. And like, if you're watching this, mate, I think you look fucking awesome. I do not mean this in a slight. It's more so impressive because criteria-wise, he's so strong.
I think he looks better when he's up against other people on stage as well. I think he looks better on stage.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Do you think he should have beat Josh Croggan in the overall? Because Josh was sat there and you.
I know. I've seen. No, I think he should have beat Josh Croggan.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it'd have been good to see him later on as well.
Yeah.
However, you got to think that was Jack's that was pretty deep in the season for Jack as well. I think he should have beat Josh. I think he's got better shape than Josh. He was leaner than Josh.
Yeah.
I think he was definitely leaner. He's got really good shape, but I almost just
don't think he has amazing shape in other ways.
He just doesn't look that to me, like when I see a men's physique guy, they're almost a little bit more, like there's more. I don't know, like flow the word.
Jack will even admit himself that the worst thing that lets Jack down is not his posing in shots maybe, but his stage presence and flow.
I think that's what I sort of
definitely lets him down.
Yeah.
And he struggles with that. Jack's no dancer, and we always said from day one, you're going to have to drill posing. I think it's difficult because he did that many feds, and men's physique posing's so different along every fed that it makes it difficult. But I think his stage presence and flow lets him down.
Yeah, but it's still not to the extent where it was like
detrimental. If he improved that, I think if he come out like a Tom Stockton, like literally dances on stage, I think you'd be like, Jesus Christ, like what hasn't?
Cam Wales.
What hasn't?
Give it like Cam Wales, but it'd be, that'd be a good battle.
Not quite as soft, but I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing that lets him down, which will improve going forward. But I think, doing two rows in the future now, that's a lot easier to do. It's front and back.
I think that's shit though.
Do you?
Well, it's two poses. You diet for that long, and you choose poses, and you come third.
I know, but then you're doing so many bodybuilding shots among other feds.
In a novice
class. Come third.
I won a class. I won a stat class.
Was this last year?
Yeah, I won a stat class.
I thought you came to the PCA.
Huh?
Where did you come in PCA?
Yeah, he lost that as well.
He lost that. He was quite small. He beat you in as well.
He was that. He was a natty Love Island contestant.
He was good though.
He was a natty.
His pose.
The thing is, I think that was almost like me. Like, why the fuck were you doing men's physique? You're so big.
Yeah, it did look odd. You looked like you couldn't walk in the shorts.
And it's like this. It was when you turn to the side and just like your waist is like it's not a men's physique waist anymore.
It was when I was a junior. So I thought.
It was when you were junior.
Yeah, but you get to a point and you just know I'm not. I just don't look like a men's physique. I said to Finn 6 weeks out. I was like, don't think I'm men's physique anymore, really. And I was like, we'll see. I've signed up for the shows.
The PCA reel that they do. I fucking love reels. The reel that they do where you walk, you just looked so
bursting through the shorts.
Yeah, it just didn't look right. And, you even pulling them down.
I walked, and they were like rolling and I was like,
it was like you'd miss your class.
Yeah,
you jumped in physique later on in the day.
Yeah, crazy. But hey ho, we live and we learn.
Yeah.
I look alright.
That was a year ago, wasn't it?
Mate, it was less than that. Yeah,
Sanaya prepped a year ago.
Yeah.
Feels like so long ago.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I was thinking because I had a year and 3 months off from when I finished my first prep to my next one starting.
Yeah.
And it's already been it's Feb now, and I finished in back end of May, so it's almost been almost a year already. And I'm like, I don't feel like I've been into an off season for that long, but I do because I'm like, I've made a lot of progress. I don't think most people that I speak to now that wouldn't know me, they'd be like, so you competed in bodybuilding before. I'm like, not really. I did men's physique last time I competed, really. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
It's like though that you think when you have your check-ins with your clients and the week comes around and it's like, fucking, that's another week gone. And before you know it, they're 20 weeks into an off season. And it's like, where's that gone? I'm 16 weeks post show. And it doesn't feel that
I think that's because us three all had such busy summers and no summer. Every weekend we was at a show, right?
Yeah.
I was run down. I was barely training. And I think you missed basically a full year of doing, did nothing. Even my holiday,
imagine that
clients on
prepping,
stage.
I was prepping for the first 5 months.
No wonder
and then by the second that I finished prep, had literally, I finished prep, and then I had, I think, a client on stage 3 weeks after, and then literally I had like 2 holidays, but I had clients on every single weekend. So it was like
I was at a show. A lot of them as well.
I was literally I was at a show like every single weekend, multiple days.
Yeah.
While also the first 5 months
cool is
prep.
It, though?
It's fantastic.
I can't wait for the shit. But that's what I was saying. Like, especially for you, on top of it. I would wish away the week until the weekend because I love going to shows and love the bicycle being. So when you get someone back in a peak week, I'm counting down to the weekend. You'll be counting down for that, and you're counting down to get back on stage. Yeah. The year goes like that, and now I'm counting down until the first client's back on stage again, which was going to be Macca, now it's not. So you're constantly like wishing away the time you're not present within there and then.
I can't remember the last time I was present. Like apart from literally after the A1. That was it.
You're present then?
I was present.
You're eating a load of shit.
Is that when you went to TV Malone Carter or something?
Nah, that was another time.
Was that another time? Yeah. Was you present then?
No. Nah. Back in my head.
He's eating his off-plan meal. He's already thinking about his next one. He's already thinking, what's my next off-plan meal?
Last night when I was at the cinema, I was thinking, going for dessert after this.
Bro, Madam Web, as if you went.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah, it was alright. There was some okay bits. Have you watched it? Some of the lines were so cringy.
I will not watch a Sony Universe
bottom tier
Spider-Man.
There was some like lines, and it was like I was like sat there thinking, this has been wrote by a 12-year-old.
It was. I literally put on my story like it wasn't one where you go, do not watch it, but it wasn't one. Yeah, it wasn't one where I'd be like, definitely go.
Yeah. There must have been 5 or 10 scenes that I was like, how is that?
It got rewritten and reshot like 4 times.
Really?
Yeah. It's gone through multiple changes. Like Sony. Well, a tangent, but like Sony, that universe is just getting rewritten because every film's coming out and doing awful. Yeah. So
what else is in that universe?
Venom.
What Morbius?
Madam Web,
is that
Morbius? Kraven the Hunter's coming out next.
That's what I thought.
They're trying to build a universe of B and C list Spider-Man characters. Like Madam Web in the comics, you know who she is?
No.
She's like a 75-year-old blind. She's got arachnid powers and she guides Spider-Man. She's like a bit of a.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was like at the end.
So, what was it like that at the end?
Well, it showed that she was like that. The main woman was like turning into that.
Yeah, so that's what it's like, and she appears in a few comics here and
there. Not been made.
So they've tried to make her literally an E-list
scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Right, let's bring it back because you mentioned Macca. Yeah, I wanted to chat about Macca because obviously Macca's like a OG on the podcast. Yeah. He's like listened to the podcast since we started pretty much. We do need to get him on. We said we'd get him on after he'd won his pro card, but we don't know what's going to happen now because he's had a seizure. So let us know what happened because obviously you're coaching him now. You know best as to what's happened with him.
What happened? He had a seizure. Did you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Did you not see the multiple reels and like the updates? And stuff like that?
I've got to do some reels on that actually.
Yeah.
What, on his seizure?
Anything I can do a reel about.
Sam, will you make us loads of reels from this? Like loads, mate. As many as you
can. I just woke up Thursday and was told that he'd basically collapsed. Then we later found it was a seizure. He's had multiple in the past when he was 18 and 19. I think he's had 3, so this is his 4th one. And then he was in hospital all day, but like he's just when you're like my cousin's like really severely epileptic. I think it's like called tonic epilepsy or something.
Really?
She'll have them all the time.
Yeah.
But after your seizure, like apparently it's agony because obviously every muscle's spasming for that long. Like the amount of energy you're expending, what it's doing. So I think you're just absolutely written off. He also fell. His back's foot from that.
Where did it happen?
In the gym on it,
in Graftism, or Grit, he's called now, right in the gym. He
like,
didn't land on anything, he was between kit, he was just walking about, and then he just kind of did a spin and fell on the floor and was
fit. Like a physique spin.
Yeah, he did front to back transition.
McGeady spin.
McGeady spin.
Flicks up and then to the right.
You love McGeady, I bet, don't you?
I love McGeady. Love it. I was buzzing when they put the McGeady spin in FIFA back in the day. I couldn't believe it.
Mate, originally McGeady couldn't do it.
The actual spin?
He was 4-star skills, and it was a 5-star skill move.
What? The game he couldn't do.
He couldn't do it. So the following game, they updated his skill moves, because people were like, it's called the McGeady spin in the game. McGeady can't do it. Yeah, honestly, like FIFA 12 or something. Yeah.
You learn loads on there once you're doing podcasts, you see, guys.
So it's obviously prep's been pulled. He was 6.5 weeks out, 6 weeks out, 6.5 weeks out. And we just kind of seeing like what's next, what we can do at the back end of the year potentially.
So you think it's stress related from?
Well, his last 2 seizures were 2 of his last seizures were from exam stress when he was in upper 6th, I believe, like A-level stress. Yeah. So realistically, it's probably stress induced. Now,
he's got
prep was not
2
stressful
kids now,
whatsoever, but he's got kids, 2 businesses. I think he's trying to move and stuff like that. So there's so many like external stresses that are probably at the subconscious in the back of your mind.
Probably at the front, like
but maybe you don't realise that you're taking on so much on your plate at once. And he obviously had the seizure, so it's a case of right now we can't go. He's got to recover. He can't train. We're just kind of introducing steps again. He's back on diet, so it's either pull it completely or continue a little bit of a diet rebound and then come in for the final shows of the year. Which if we did do that, there's pro qual wise, there's obviously the British finals. There's then like Finland and stuff like that, which are pretty easy shows to go to.
That. What was the show right at the back end of the season? Where,
it's
like,
Finland.
Is it Finland?
It's Finland.
Yeah, like last show, and it's like
they've got like 23 people on stage across all categories. Yeah. Like 21
and
of them are pro
cards.
all going for it.
Yeah, give out 4 pro cards, and it's like, right, a third of you or a quarter of you are going to get a pro card.
Yeah. No. It's Finland. I think there might be Iceland or another one that's really similar as well, up that way. Yeah. But yeah, that's one that
it does diminish it though, doesn't it? It's like
it
if you win a pro card at one of those shows, not only does it diminish it, but you also probably bottom tier when you then get into the pro league, and it's like your career's over.
Yeah,
probably. It's like, do you really want to do that? I'm not saying that about Mac.
I'm
saying about anybody who like.
No, especially if you we weren't shooting for them originally. Obviously, we had the first regional, we had the Ben Weeder, we had Sweden. There was an amateur in Portugal. There was Poland. Like there was good ones coming up. But if you go into the back end of the year, I think you're quite limited. And if you are just shooting for the ones where it's let's pick the easiest date, let's try and get it, there'll be no one there. It does diminish it. Yeah, and then they, as you said, step up with the pros, and it's difficult to do well.
That wasn't handled that well, mate.
No.
Your one chance, and you're not coming back.
No wonder I've not been on in 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So every now and again, we have a 30-minute limit on the camera. We will upgrade the studio soon, guys. Also, apologies for the audio on the Josh Croggan podcast. Did you see someone commented like, please sort it out. I really wanted to listen to this one. I can't hack
sucks.
it.
Audio sucks. Not tuning in again.
Yeah, I hate this podcast. I hate you.
Unsubscribed.
I hate you, Finn.
Hate that Finn.
You've ruined my life.
Whoever the Finn guy is, I hate.
Whoever the Finn guy is, I invented it. Yeah.
Said no one ever.
What's that, mate? Right, so what have we got? What else have we wanted to discuss?
Who you got on stage this year? We kind of wrapped through clients you got on stage last year. Anyone else that was a notable?
That did well.
Yeah, like anyone else?
Who did well?
David
did well.
Yeah. David was good.
Jack did the best, and Joe as well went through Joe.
Who's that?
And then it was JFreaky1.
Oh, yeah, JFreaky1.
JFreaky, yeah, we don't know Joe. Yeah.
Apart from that, it was just obviously average.
And who have you got this year?
Yeah. I've got
you don't need to name everyone, mate.
I've got like 30 on stage. I don't know. Again, who have I got? There's obviously Macca. I've got some good. JB's good.
Yeah.
90 men's physique
lad. Yeah. He's very good.
Like, if he was in, he'd have won the British finals, in my opinion.
Yeah.
His shape's lovely.
Yeah,
he's
really
put on a lot of size quickly. So, but we're going for the Worlds with him. So the NBW Classic.
Okay.
As opposed to the UK, as opposed to the British finals.
The earlier shows.
Yeah, do the earlier shows. Yeah. I don't know really off the top of my head.
Don't worry, mate. It's hard, isn't it, when you put on the spot. I hate it when we have those questions about clients, and I'm like, fuck.
You also don't want to leave people out.
Exactly.
Either,
you feel bad if
you
forget someone. So we don't have a chance.
But it's like, they have 13, 14 on stage last year, and so far I've got about 30, so it's going to be busy. Yeah. And you pick people up along the way as well, majority of the time. Yeah. So it's busy, which is great.
How's it going? Obviously, working with Christian. I wanted to sort of ask about that and see, because it's how long's it been now that you've been working with him?
10 months, 9 months.
Is it?
I think so.
I didn't realise it'd been that long. June. I thought it'd been about like 6 or something.
No, I think I only had Harry on Christian's stage. I think the first show that I'd done with him, which hadn't been announced, was Jack winning the overall at the FitX.
Yeah.
Down in Bristol. So
how did it come about?
We weren't talking about it for long. It was kind of like that. Well, obviously we've been pretty close mates for a while, and we then was like, let's do some content together, and we started doing some reels together, and we were training together quite
Some
a lot.
reels.
I love reels.
Yeah.
Shock.
Yeah, reels. Wow.
We do some reels.
Well, he
together.
said, "Can we do some content?" And I said, "Yeah, reels."
Reels. Yeah. It was a match made in heaven.
And he loves reels as well. And then he spoke to me about, and I kind of knew what he was going to hint to me. We were saying how could we work together without doing it, and I didn't want to go on as just a co-coach that is, you know, looked at as just a co-coach. I wanted to I don't want to be lifestyle really. I want to just be a prep coach. I want to work alongside you, make it more of a team than just someone's co-coach. And then we spoke, and then he said, "What do you think about getting Tom on as well?" So yeah, and then we went from there. It happened really quickly. To be fair, there wasn't a lot of like thought or preparation for it. It was just like,
that's
yeah,
the
let's
best
do
thing.
It makes sense. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then since then it's.
I think done. I said to you after one of the shows, I think it was the Fitex show that, you know, Jack and Connor went against each other. And I said, I was like, for most people, 9 out of 10 situations, that if you join another coach, I'd be like, probably not going to be too beneficial.
Yeah.
But I think with you, especially because your marketing probably isn't as good as it could be, and you're good at what you do.
It is now.
So
I do reels.
Reels? Reels. Have you seen?
I thought that's what you did.
No, yeah.
No, I agree. My marketing's woeful.
Yeah. So like, I always like if I had, let's say, a client come to me and say, "Hey mate," like, or let's say an ex-client, I'm thinking about working with Tim. I wouldn't have said a bad word. I would have been like, Tim's really good. Like, I would be like, "Tim sound, crack on." Or if somebody just came up to me in the gym and was like, "I'm thinking about signing up with Tim," I'd be like, "Yeah, cool, crack on. You'll do good." But when you don't have that sort of name for yourself, like you did previously, you need to get some clients in. And the one thing that Christian has is a name when it comes to like how he is. More so, not even a name, like a personality, a person. So you've got that sort of like mantra of Christian, and then you've actually, I'm not saying you're a better coach than Christian, I think prep-wise you are, but like it would be a case where you're adding more strings, not to like his bow, but to your bow, based off his persona.
You've got to agree to pull
you,
to work
and
with
you as an actual coach. But like, you can know everything, but if you're not, like, let's say,
if you're not out there,
there's loads of amazing coaches out there whose content is horrendous. They don't
do reels, no reels.
But it's true. Like, if they don't even maybe train themselves, like you said yourself, when you stopped training for bodybuilding, that made your business take a massive hit.
But you weren't any worse of a coach.
No, but it shows that we always say
authority. But
leading like
no one wants
from
to
the
be
front.
coached by someone who's not a bodybuilder.
We say, don't we? Like, I think one of the main things for us is that the reason that we've probably done pretty well is that we're very consistent. We've put the same content out for 5 years. We lead from the front in terms of how we are. People think we're over the top with things at times about training or nutrition. Like, people take the piss out of us for being in the gym for 3-4 hours or whatever.
Who would do that?
I don't know. That's Tim.
Yeah, Tim.
Tim's
in the gym 2 times a week.
But like, we love it.
Yeah.
So
you know
what I mean,
you love it.
And then other people that do love that side of it, who just fucking love
We'll
training.
attract them.
Yeah, exactly.
Massively.
Whereas like, we probably don't attract the people who. Again, we always say we're not cheerleaders.
I think I do now because of results.
Yeah.
And because I think you have got to forget like that. You don't have to be a good bodybuilder to be a good coach, or you don't have to live that certain way. 100. If I live 90-95%, but not 100%, like a client shouldn't not come to me because. No. But I agree that in the past, especially functional and other stuff, why would someone who's on it not all day every day go to someone who's not remotely on it?
Yeah,
you've got to walk the walk a little and have some authority.
They're not going to not listen, but they wouldn't. Again, like if you were to say, I want you doing this, this, and this, or I want you trying this new different technique in the gym, they'd be like, well. Why? What have you done?
Go on 1,300 calories, but I'm off on the piss at the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to work, is it? Yeah. And I think that was another thing that made me go back into it massively as well. But I'll say that I'm the happiest and best it's ever been in terms of enjoyment within the process. And there's not really any difference. It's just that I've kind of almost accepted that it is what I love. And I'm not bothered about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Especially when you've got people around you who don't understand.
But that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen this year in terms of progress business-wise, is that I've cut 90% of people out, and that I don't. As cliche as it is of keeping your circle small, especially when it's external people that don't understand, it's even like going to a show every weekend. We don't have weekends free. Yeah. So if you want to meet up with friends, they work 9 till 5 Monday to Friday. When are you going to see them? Because I'm at a show that's for me probably 2, 3, 4 hours away. Then got to drive back. I'm knackered the next day, and I've got another 2 people going into a peak week. You know how it just batters you and runs you down as well.
You don't have time to be like socialising.
You haven't got time to sit with your girlfriend a lot of time, or she's setting someone up, or you're doing something and then you got to prioritise her. That you're not just just because you live with someone or you see them a lot, that's not quality time at all.
Mate, me and Shannon, like, we've lived together 5 years and we don't get much time together. Like, Friday night is when we have, like, an hour or two where I'm not working. And
so
even
then
it's like it's an hour. It's usually an hour.
You're not going to go see someone that you haven't seen in ages to go, all they want to do is go out.
Get a drink.
To get a drink. And like, I haven't drunk in months. I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm so much better off for it. Not like I sound like I was an absolute pisshead.
Heroin
I was out every weekend. I was still on the heroin a little bit.
Just wasn't drinking.
Yeah, Friday nights, me and Megan.
With the blues.
You are.
With the blues.
Heroin with the blues, yeah. Intravenous blues. But back to Christian, like, and I think
perfect
segue. Part of
Perfect segue. That.
Back in.
Yeah, he does the intravenous.
Anyway, talking about that, Christian, it's really good.
That's why we got on. So that's why I wanted to join him, because I knew he was a blue heroin as well.
Rare, hard to come by.
In terms of the name, got coached by Christian. That's why it works so well for him as well, because as you said, it's him as a person.
Yeah.
Like, everyone loves him, and he always says about, like, your unique selling point is yourself. And people get coached by Christian to be coached by Christian,
they just like him,
because he just, like, he bigs everyone up, and like he makes people feel good, and he's obviously very well liked, so it works. Like, the name, obviously not for me, but in terms of for him, well, it's not coached by Tim, but like in terms of coached by Christian, like CVC, why it works so well is because it's
exactly what it is.
Exactly what it is, and it doesn't need another name really. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to ask as well. So, how is it? How long have you been working with Joe now?
3 months, 3 months.
Have you been coached by him before? No.
I was coached by Christian for 6 weeks.
And then it was horrendous, so you sacked it off.
Yeah.
You're like, it's a good thing I'm working alongside.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, how have you got clients?
He was just bigging you up every week, and you're like, mate,
Christian made me quit bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Made me want to go back to functional.
Yeah. I went functional because of him.
Yeah.
He's just check-ins. I genuinely, I left Christian, then went functional.
Yeah.
That was my last ditch to try and stay on. Was like, I'm going to
just get a cheerleader.
Who have you been coached by before then?
No, just in for 6 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
which I'll admit and he'll admit wasn't a great idea. Not because Christian's a great coach, more so me.
Yeah.
I am pretty uncoachable. You two are probably similar in the fact of, like, if someone does something, I am thinking, I won't do that, or I do that anyway. Why am I paying someone to do this?
Yeah.
Like, I'd want to do my own training and stuff. But when it came to Joe, I think I've been with Joe 3-4 months. And I wanted to go to Joe as well to learn a little bit more. And like, anything I could would be great to take away from it. And it's a change. And it's been great, to be fair.
Yeah. So what have you been doing?
Yeah, what's
Give us a breakdown. Yeah.
The training's obviously different.
Yeah. A lot of LPs?
A lot of LPs.
I love LPs.
Everything.
What do you like more, LPs or reels?
Yeah.
Don't, bro.
I've got a reel
coming out.
Gun to my head, I'd pick the bullet.
I've got a reel coming out. We've got a reel coming out about LPs versus reels.
I've already been there, done that, bro. You're like 2 weeks behind me.
Ours are piss take.
Yeah, ours is a complete piss take.
I liked it when you said it's obviously a length and partial if you're doing who's doing a short and a partial. But just at the top.
No, 21s, bro. You never done 21 bicep curls in the last 7? Yeah.
I feel like that's what we'd have done back in the day, 21s. We did behind the neck shoulder presses, mate, or the Smith.
Every time. I'd do it without a Smith. I'd do front and then back.
Alternating reps.
I'd do like flat bench, incline bench.
Flat bench behind the neck.
Then flat dumbbell, and flat bench behind the neck.
Flat bench behind the neck.
Flat pull down behind the neck. What was I saying? But yeah, Joe, obviously training is... I was doing length and partials, but I was just doing them as intensifiers, tagging them on and stuff, but everything is pretty much length and partials.
Lengthened,
yeah.
How have you found it, like?
I didn't think I'd like it too much at the start, training-wise, from an enjoyment perspective. Yeah. But yeah,
what's the session entail? So like, what's the most, like, what's a standard?
What's the most?
Session?
How many LPs in a session?
How many LPs are too many?
What is this? What's an example session?
So like, I've got full body pull at the end of the week. That would be like seated hamstring, very much in hip flexion. LPs.
I told you, mate. Everybody's going to be doing that.
What, in hip flexion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that for quite a while, and I only do it on like latter sets.
Yeah, I've got it both. One I don't, one I do, and I do
more
higher rep.
Give it a few months, and everyone will be doing it on every set.
But do you not remember it? It kind of came about years ago, right? And then biomechanics came out and said that there is no difference in lengthening the hamstring when going into a larger degree of hip
you can
flexion.
feel it.
Yeah. But I think you can feel it, like massively. Yeah. But I think it was because people would just thoracically bend at the top.
They weren't in hip
and
flexion.
They weren't in hip flexion, but you can feel a huge difference.
Yeah.
So length and partial in hip flexion, and then it's like I was doing an RDL. I was doing an RDL.
Do you remember when you did RDLs with us at Progress?
Still can't RDL.
Yeah, you do.
The RDLs was shit
Still
back
can't
then.
RDL.
Mine
No
RDLs
difference
are
in
awful.
load. Mechanically, it just doesn't work.
I remember,
whatsoever.
do you remember? You did like 180 and it looked awful. Then you were like, yeah, I'll do 200. And we were like, what?
It'll move, but it looks worse and worse. But I've got such long legs and short arms that it's horrible. So I pull them out and I do bent over flexion rows, which are disgusting.
Yeah.
I love them. Length and partials on that. Well, the row is the length and partial.
Yeah.
Single arm, prime row, length and partial, loading the length and range, and then a pull down, which is length and partial, like an upper back pull down. I don't do a length and partial. Sorry, Joe.
The thing is, so we might as well like get into it. So
I'll pick and choose.
For example, the single arm prime row.
Yeah.
Like, if you're getting it fully short, do you feel like that feels worse? Does it feel better? Do you feel like
I think
you're...
it feels worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because of the profile though? Because it drops off so much?
Yeah.
I think that's probably why.
But even on like a cable, I wouldn't fully contract it.
Don't you think?
I think
No.
the
I think the
contraction
contract.
on the
Yeah.
row always feels
I think
really
it
good.
depends on the movement. Like, some
But if it
things
feels really
feel
good,
Do a dumbbell
does that
lat
matter? Does that matter?
Yeah, like a dumbbell lat raise, I can understand doing loads of partials because it's like quite fun, you know. Even a normal
Yeah,
lat
but
raise.
why
like,
would
the
you do it?
profile
Like, the
shit
load
there.
just drops
Yeah.
off.
yeah,
There's no.
but let's say you're just
load.
doing like a cable. Like,
Yeah,
that feels
yeah.
quite good to do some partials.
That
But
feels
on a
better.
row,
cable
Way
lateral.
better.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good.
Single arm.
Calves.
Way better.
Yeah.
I think calf length.
Yeah,
partial feels very
hamstrings is better.
good. Yeah, even like leg pressing, like the integrated partials that I
I
really
do
like those.
1.5 reps on that gym Leco, yeah.
But then there's some things where I think that just doesn't feel right.
Well, that's why I
doing
do the upper back pull down, because I feel like when you're doing something potentially isolated or a muscle group that doesn't fail in that length and range typically, I think you don't get too much out the short. Where I think with certain exercises, I almost feel, for lack of a better term, other muscles kick in as I get deeper into that short and range.
Yeah,
So
if
with an
you've
upper
got
back pull down, if I'm there,
halfway, it
but
feels-
then when I get to there, everything's contracting,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like it's potentially not, I'm missing out there. But like research does suggest that it's not. They've done it on most muscle groups, they've done it on most exercises.
Yeah.
I know research isn't everything,
yeah.
but if you're not getting that much out of that short position on a single arm row, why am I wasting time going into it too much when it feels exactly the same? If anything, it feels a little bit better. It's like the lateral. It feels like that for me.
Yeah.
And I think it's far better.
I think you should go off of feel a lot, especially when it comes to like isolation movements.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting it fully short, you feel like it drops off so much that it just doesn't feel like I'm doing it. Don't get it fully short. But I think on certain movements, like it does just make sense to actually
You'll
try.
probably agree that my weakest body part, not what my weakest body parts are, tell me if you want,
All of
hamstrings and biceps, I've never really had any sensation or feel when training them my whole
Whereas
life.
now I bet you're like shit.
Now, since doing LPs,
No, it's true.
No,
though.
but
like,
seriously, they're my worst body
hamstrings-
parts
I feel
'cause
like
I don't feel them.
my hamstrings, they're not good, but they used to be so bad. Like I used to have no hamstrings, like, and now they're actually decent. Like they're not too bad at all, because I'm not gonna say it's solely down to doing more lengthened work, but it's like I actually feel my hamstrings when I train them,
Yeah.
and like that's got to have some warrant. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think people neglect. They'll go, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about feel or internal like sensation. Just fucking move the
if
weight.
It's moving the weight. If you've got good form, it's moving the weight. It's moving.
Yeah, but I
And
think it
that's
depends
true.
on the
That will take you
movement.
so far.
But some
Yeah.
people then are obsessed over mind-muscle connection.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely a correlation that if I look at my weakest body parts,
I
I
don't
struggle
connect
to
with
get pumped.
Yeah.
I just move the weight.
Yeah.
Even with biceps, always stick me on a preacher pad, like anything. I'm
Yeah.
really struggling to. My forearms will blow up first. Like I'm struggling to get anything out of my bicep. Same with my hamstrings. They're my weakest body parts.
Yeah, it
There's
makes
got to
sense.
be some correlation
definitely.
between it. But now, like going to something as simple as going into hip flexion on a seated ham
Makes a big
does
difference.
change the game.
Yeah, it does.
Um,
Even like I was saying about calves, like I feel like in that shortened range, like, I'll feel my calves contract, but more often than not,
You've
I
always
just
said your calves, you get nothing
I
wrong.
really
Yeah,
struggle.
I'm the
Like
same.
I really struggle to connect with them, and it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like I'm surely not doing it. I remember I was doing a pin loaded calf press, toe press in Rotherham, and I was training. I can't remember who I was training with. It wasn't you, but I was saying to him like, I literally cannot contract. I can't even feel it. And they're like, how the fuck can you not feel that? And I was like, I'm doing everything
it's the
right,
same.
the exact same, but I can't feel it. Like, and then I'll go and I'll literally throw a bicep curl around, and my biceps just blow
You've
up.
got big arms.
And it's like, so there's got to be something you've got to think when it comes to that. Like,
You're probably similar to me with calves as well. I've always struggled to actually get to a failure point because I don't really know what a failure point is because I'm not feeling that much. And at
There's
the
not
end,
enough
I'm just
muscle
like, probably not enough muscle. I've got no feeling, and I'm like, am I kind of done? Am I just moving it at this point? I don't know.
Again, it's a lot better now, but again, it comes down to like exercise selection. Like even sometimes now, I'll be like, I don't like that. I need to go back to that. Like movements that I know feel good.
Yeah.
When it's body parts that are weak, I'll really prioritize what actually feels good.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I'd have been like, oh, it doesn't matter, just fucking get stronger. Yeah. And like
they
now,
say that
I'm like,
pick something you enjoy and you'll get more out of it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true, but I think
you
massively
enjoy what
you feel.
You enjoy what you feel.
What feels good.
Like if you finish a set and all that hurts is your hips or your knees, you don't enjoy that.
No.
Like whereas like if you have a set where you get off and you can barely walk after a leg press because your quads are fucking battered,
it's quite clearly done more than
you enjoy that more though, or at least I do.
Because
So I'm like, shit, that's worked. Like whereas if you don't feel it, you're probably not going to enjoy it. So I think it works hand in hand anyway.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good little topic.
And then also volume escalation, which I've always done, but not to the extent that Joe does.
Yeah.
So talk us through, like, is it still similar, like week 1, 2, 3 built up?
Through a 5-6 week mesocycle.
You get to 5-6 weeks?
Yeah.
I thought it was week 4 deload.
No. Really? I think that's a misconception.
Must be because you're weak.
Or you don't train.
I don't train. I've missed sessions.
Yeah, all this sort of stuff.
No, I think that is a misconception to the point where if I'm like Joe, I'm fine. He's like, well, let's do another week. We need to rinse it. We need to rinse another week.
Yeah,
it's
but
not set in stone.
I don't think it's a misconception. I think it's, for example, Joe. He's a good coach. He knows what he's doing, so he's not going to go. You need to deload if there's no signs.
But other coaches
for people who
or copy,
people who copy,
have to deload.
It's more so just being proactive than reactive to a deload. Yeah. It's next week I will be trash.
Let's just take it.
Let's take it. Yeah. The week after it's going to be. This is going to be like
overtrained.
Okay, let's just sit back.
Yeah, which is perfect. Like that's what generally I think anybody should. That's what anybody should do. But most people now will see Joe, or like obviously when Physique Collective blew up,
4-6
everyone's doing the exact same. I've got to deload at week 6. Like, fuck off.
I think it's the same even volume escalating, just adding sets for the absolute sake.
And not even progressing.
And adding sets.
So what's your volume like then when it comes to where it gets to? So what would week 1 be? And
week 1 would probably look at like,
so that
10 to 12. 10 to 12 for maybe chest and back.
Okay.
Arms probably maybe 14. Legs 8 and 7. Quad ham. And they'll probably progress to almost upwards of bar and legs. Would probably progress to upwards of 20, if not 20 plus on some body parts.
So how do you feel like the quality is in comparison?
There's going to be some quality drop off.
There's some quality drop off, but I only have 6 exercises in a session. Okay. So instead of doing 4 back exercises, I'm doing 2. So if it's 4 sets, it's just instead of 2 and 2. I think people forget, if I've got 6 sets on a bicep, and I really like that bicep exercise, you give someone 6 sets, and they're like, what? Yeah. You give them 3 and 3, and they're like, yes, Alan.
Yeah.
You know, and I am that guy when someone comes and asks me now, how many sets you got left? And I'm like 6. And I'm that guy I used to fucking hate and be like, that cunt's got 6 sets left. And now I'm like, I've got 6 sets.
6 sets, bro. Your weight.
Bro. Yeah. 6 my rep rest pause sets, bro.
We do 3 and 3 a lot of the time, but like,
but it'll blow someone's head if you say 6.
Movement, you just stick on it.
And if you get a good pump, the amount of times I've like just done a few sets, especially if like food's high and you're in a good group,
do another one. Do a drop set, add it in.
Even on a lot of things, like yesterday, I was like, that first set of squat press felt fucking mint. I'm going to do a second.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, do it.
Yeah.
And I think your recovery's fine and the quality's not dropping off a ridiculous amount. Why not? And like we know we do desensitize through a training block. If you go give a newbie a new program, he'll have ridiculous DOMs. Week 2 it'll be less. Week 2 it'll be less. Week 2 it'll be less. Despite even progressing load and reps, we are desensitizing. We increase food across mesocycles as we plateau. We desensitize to pretty much everything. It's the same with training. So escalating that volume alongside the desensitivity does make sense. And it's also the case of, like Joe says, that over a full macro cycle, we will still massively desensitize as well. So the deloads won't be as aggressive as potentially at the end of a macro cycle. That will be like, let's fully take some time away.
I completely agree with that. Like coming out of a prep, especially considering like last year for me, I'd take a deload that was like 3 or 4 days, like 6 weeks after.
And you're fine.
Yeah, but like towards the peak of my off season,
you've got to take
stronger.
I think I had 8 days off, and I remember on that 7th day, I was like, I'm still pretty
still battered.
Yeah,
I feel like now, like we were saying, weren't we? Like I said a month ago, I was like, I probably need a deload soon. But then I've just carried on and I've been sound. So I've just like manipulated volume a little bit, and I'm like, I still feel all right. And it's like, well, yeah, it's because you're 180 pounds. I'm not peak strength, peak off season, peak food. Like, of course I feel okay. But like, probably in 6
when
months,
the
I'm like,
stresses
I
climb
need to.
and everything's super high, then you got to properly wash it off.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty good to see as well.
Yeah.
But escalating volume, if your recovery allows, your soreness, your pump. I track pump procs, and I've got my clients doing that as well now, in terms of how good the pump is. If that's dropping off as well, that's a fantastic indicator to suggest that we need to pull back, or we need to deload at some point as well. So yeah, honestly, I'm loving it. Drugs is pretty much identical.
I was going to say, any ped changes, or is it pretty similar?
No, pretty much identical. It's just test mass, Nova Rapid Lantus, and GH. If anything, I'm running more than I've ever ran, which is still like less than a gram. I know if it's less than a gram, it's a cruise, right? So I'm still cruising.
Oh, so you're cruising now,
no, but I've never pushed drugs that high at all, and this is coming up to the highest I have pushed them. And I've seen a lot of people who's been with Joe have almost like not pushing drugs, but potentially with certain pathways you can put them a little bit higher than you initially thought. So yeah, it's pretty good. Sitting at like 245 now.
And then food, where's that at?
Just over 5k.
What's your macros? Because Joe likes higher fats, doesn't he? I'm pretty
sure.
sure.
My fats are 75.
What, on training days?
Yeah.
And then what's
not that high?
That's
5K.
not that high. No.
Top of my head, I don't know, because I follow a diet plan. 290 protein.
Okay.
I can't think where my carbs are.
Yeah.
Rest days like 4-4, 4-3.
Yeah.
I think.
How quickly are you gaining?
That's the thing with me. I get to a body weight.
It just sticks.
It sticks, and what I gain is fat.
Yeah.
I think it's just so irritating. And you'll know with me, everything's on my midsection. It always is.
Yeah.
Everywhere else is fucking lean, really lean. It's always on. It just blurs and blurs and blurs. I'm probably gaining at like £0.5 to £1 a week. So nothing too aggressive, which I think is far better. And to be fair, over the last year or so as well, and I reckon you two are similar, I have, even with clients in the gaining phase, the rate of gain that I push now is so minimal compared to what I used to, and even used to push on myself.
I think it depends on age and
age and situation and coming out of a prep.
If you're
like
a young teen, you can get pretty soft pretty quickly and actually make some really good progress.
That's the only.
If you train for 10 years,
the main people that I'll push hard, it's like they're in the first 2-3 years of training, or they're just very young, or like
maximise everything, or
for
coming
most
out
people,
post-show or rebounding. But for most, especially deeper into the off season, the slower the better.
I'll always say that literally, when you've got an adequate amount of body fat, why would you try and gain faster than the slowest rate possible? Like if you can gain a pound a month, like let's say you gain as a natural, especially if you gain 12 pounds in a year and you look similar composition, like obviously you're going to gain some fat. No one's gaining 12 pounds of muscle in a year as a natty.
No.
If you gain 3 to 5, that's fucking mint.
Like in females, if you're gaining 1-2,
you'll look ridiculous.
That's going to make a big difference in a bikini physique.
Exactly. We were discussing rate of gain. We were basically saying slower the better.
Yeah.
Have we got any other topics we want to
Anything
cover?
that you wanted to
say, just to add to that, I think it's really important as well, coming towards a prep, of slowing that rate of gain down.
Yes.
Gaining that extra body fat for the sake of a couple of pounds of muscle, you're only going to have to pull it off, and then you lose the tissue anyway.
Like this has changed massively in the last few years.
You need to slow it down, because you might gain maybe £0.5 a pound of muscle with 4 pounds body fat, but pulling that 4 pounds body fat at the end of prep, you're going to lose that tissue.
It's like that stage, like I like to run a pre-prep, then have that phase in between,
where you
where it might be like 4 to 6 months. But yeah, if you can, even in that 4 to 6 months, if you gain like minimal weight, and like you say, just work that sort of capacity up, you look so much better. You're fresher, you're fuller. You're like, I'm ready to diet, but I've already pulled off like a big chunk of it. Perfect.
I feel like back in the day, like late, like 2018, 19, 20. It was more so like,
get your food as high as you can before you start.
How many do you know that you've got someone's food high and their phenotype is literally they diet on low food? You make 1,000 calorie change and they're not changing. You've got someone 4.5k and they're still dieting on 20 to 100. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean everything building your food up.
No, Sanaa, I remember prior to her first prep, she was like throwing up her cream of rice, and Tom was just like, more food, just starting prep. No, and she was like soft, and I remember thinking, like, I was like,
why
are you doing?
Pushing,
like, I was like, you should
just
literally
start early.
Do some extra cardio, eat a little bit less, get that routine nailed, and then when you actually make a drop,
I think that's the most vital thing is your routine and your mindset. Like, I've been saying to clients recently, like, do you feel ready to prep yet after the pre-prep? And some of them are like, I don't know, probably not yet. Like, it's maybe been like 2 months.
Yeah.
And like, but I'm getting there. Like, and then others are like, yeah, I mean, I want to go now. Can we start? Can we start now? And the ones that are like, can we start now? I'm like, oh yeah, like we can start a bit sooner than we planned, because why not? Like,
it's not gonna, you're only gonna have an easier prep.
You'll be ready a bit earlier. You can lose slower. We can run refeeds and stuff a lot.
Then pre-preps, especially from a routine perspective, they
essential.
really do solidify a prep routine,
and they show you who's
ready for
got it and who hasn't at the minute.
Yeah, I remember going into my first prep, and I was like doing, because it was like I was finishing up uni, so I was like doing my dissertation shot of that. I was doing like 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day, because I was like literally, we were training out my shed. I was doing like minimal cardio, sleep was all over the place, and I was like, right, finish uni, week after starting prep. And it was like such a shit shift, where I did my pre-prep diet in 2022, and I kept cardio in every single day. And I remember saying to Finn, like back in, like, I started prepping like too much. Do you reckon I should change cardio? And Finn was like, no, just keep it in, just do it the same, just maybe do a little bit less intensity and build up. And I remember when prep came around, it was like, oh, I actually feel like this isn't prepping. I'm still doing cardio. I'm still in that routine. I'm still doing steps.
That's
just
the
most food.
The most successful preps, and the people who are the most successful are the ones who live their off season just the same, and it's just, I'm doing a bit more cardio, a bit less food. Oh, my food's going down again, my steps are going up a bit, and it's like
the
it's
phase
just life
doesn't change. It's just the food. You see with who's done well post show. Obviously, post show can be sensitive and it's difficult for everyone. But you see who rebounds well and does well in the off season is who's taken post show seriously and just treat their off season basically like a prep.
And I think it's the people who love training and just love the process of it. It's not doing it for
social media.
Social media or other reasons.
You can tell straight away.
Okay, I think that's a good ending point.
Definitely, that was very good.
Do you want to plug the numbers?
I can't see it either.
So guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe. We're on 547. We're only recently just hit 500, so let's keep that going. And we're on 820 on the Spotify followers, so we're closing on 1,000. If you haven't given us a rating as well, please give us a rating, 5-star on Spotify.
And we should also say shout out to Conte Sports, because they sponsor
us.
We're soon to get a Conte sign, apparently.
Yeah. Well, if they sort it out.
Yeah. So Pete, any chance?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I'm seeing Pete on Saturday. Actually.
Yeah.
I'll tell him to delay
are you coming to the?
Yeah, you got the invite to the shoot on Thursday. You good luck.
Not got the invite.
Not good looking enough, mate.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
It's a shame.
Yeah. And final thing, where can people find you, mate, if they don't follow you?
Tim Stewart _ Team CBC. I think on Instagram, but most will know me.
Most will know.
That'll be in the thousands after this episode.
Let me see. It is Tim Stewart _ Team CBC.
Yeah, on Instagram, and that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah. Sam, put a link, we'll put a link in the description. So yeah, we're now going to do a Q&A. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed. Thanks for everything. Story tags, questions, all that sort of jazz. See you later. Bye bye.